Welcome to this explainer on the uncopyable advantage, continuous learning in the AI era. Today, we're going to unpack a concept that is fundamentally reshaping how the most successful organizations operate. We're looking at why continuous learning is no longer just some corporate buzzword you throw into a mission statement, but rather, it's the ultimate survival mechanism for businesses navigating rapid change right now. So if you're looking to future-proof your career and your team, you are in the exact right place.
All right, let's dive right in with a pretty startling reality. 5. Just 5 years. That is the new half-life of a learned professional skill. The hard truth we have to face here is that knowledge becomes outdated faster today than at literally any other point in human history. Skills that were highly valuable, maybe even super specialized, just half a decade ago, yeah, they simply might not be enough to sustain you today. So the crucial question we really gotta ask ourselves right out of the gate is this. Are your skills expiring as we speak? It's slightly uncomfortable to think about, I know, but leaning into that discomfort is exactly where growth begins. We simply can't rely on what got us here to get us there. We need to be people who can continuously learn, adapt, and grow on demand.
Now, why is this happening so fast? Well, the world is moving aggressively fast, starting with technology that evolves at absolute breakneck speed. Think about it. AI, automation, advanced data analytics, they're rewriting the rules of what's possible almost daily. The tools you mastered last year, they might be completely overhauled by next quarter. And right on the heels of that tech explosion, global markets are shifting beneath our feet. Supply chains reorganize overnight. Brand new competitors emerge from entirely different industries, and economic realities pivot without any warning. Having a static business model in a dynamic market is basically a recipe for irrelevance. And because of all this relentless evolution, customer expectations are constantly changing. They want faster, they want better, they want more personalized solutions. This immense pressure is forcing organizations to learn and adapt faster than ever before. Learning has officially moved from a nice-to-have HR initiative to an absolute, non-negotiable strategic necessity. Section 1. The uncopyable competitive advantage. Let's see how continuous learning actually builds the ultimate business moat. Now, what's really fascinating here is how directly learning links to hard business performance. When you foster continuous learning, you aren't just making people feel good. It fuels your organization's adaptability, it sparks innovation because, well, new ideas require new knowledge. It drastically enhances your team's problem-solving skills, and crucially, it massively increases your response speed to those shifting market conditions. This really illustrates our core thesis perfectly. Look, your competitors can easily buy the exact same technology off the shelf. They can reverse engineer and copy your internal processes. But your organization's ingrained ability to learn, to adapt, and to stay resilient, that is utterly uncopyable. You just can't buy a learning culture. Section 2. What holds us back? Now, if learning is this critical to our long-term advantage, we've got to understand the resistance that's holding us back. First up, we've got the time barrier. And wow, is this universally relatable? People just feel completely overwhelmed by their daily tasks. When your inbox is overflowing and you've got massive deadlines looming, taking an hour to learn a new framework feels like a luxury you just can't afford, right? Second, and honestly, maybe even more dangerous, is the mindset barrier. This is where organizations fall into the trap of treating learning like an annual trip to the dentist. A painful, isolated event instead of just a normal, ongoing, daily habit. The most successful organizations don't separate learning from working. They integrate it entirely. Section 3. How leaders set the tone. So, how exactly do we break these barriers down and spark a true cultural shift? As a leader, you are the absolute catalyst here. When you visibly demonstrate curiosity, when you ask probing questions instead of just dictating answers, and when you actively seek feedback, your team takes notice. You're modeling the exact behavior you want to see, empowering them to do the same. Because learning cultures, they don't just bubble up by accident. Section 4. The Daily Growth Playbook. Let's transition into some actionable steps with a highly practical playbook you can use right now. I really want you to slow down and start regularly asking your team these 4 essential questions. Ask them, what have we learned recently? What skills are we going to need in the future? What knowledge gaps exist right now, today? And how can we directly support that development? If you use these in your one-on-ones, learning instantly becomes a structured, daily routine.
When you integrate those kinds of conversations, you naturally build a resilient culture founded on these 5 pillars: curiosity, continuous development, deep adaptability, open knowledge sharing, and relentless continuous improvement. Actually, it becomes more than just a culture. It literally becomes the operating system of your business.
You know, the future ultimately belongs to organizations that never stop learning. But remember the core takeaway here. This uncopyable advantage starts at the top. Culture always follows leadership. If you want a learning organization, you have to be a learning leader. So, I'm going to leave you with this final vital question to ponder as you step back into your day. What will your team learn today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious and go use these insights to build your own uncopyable advantage.